right, man, this is Footwork. Let's talk. So, this past weekend, Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin met up for the third time, and they fought at 168 for the super middleweight championship. This is undisputed. And some folks call it a big deal. This guy that reported on it right here, this Brent Brookhouse guy, says that this was a big win, quote unquote, for Canelo Alvarez. This is pretty much everything I don't like about boxing. Canelo is a huge hype train. He's been cherry picking for years. He's been jumping over guys that have been in dangerous weight classes from 154 all the way up to 175. And, I'm just putting it out there the way it is. This guy he's overhyped, he's overrated, and they minimize all of his losses, and they minimize why, and they always hype him up every time he knocks off a bum. And that's all Gennady Golovkin was. He's just been a bum who himself has been cherry picking ever since the last time he fought Canelo about 4 years or so ago. And so Triple G and Canelo, I mean, this is a fight nobody really was asking for anyway, especially this third fight. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's a waste of time. But they went in there and did it anyway, and they got paid millions. And people laughed and they cheered, and it was a great time. And at the end of the day, what does it all mean? So it means that Canelo bounced back from his last loss with Dmitry Bivol at 175. And Gennady Golovkin looked like he linked back up with his old trainer. And to be honest with you, he looked better in this fight than he did in his last 2 or 3 fights. So going into this fight, what were the stakes? I mean, Canelo gets undisputed at 168. Hooray for him. He's probably not going to defend it against anybody that's worth noting. He could fight Benavidez right there in the same weight class, but I seriously doubt that he's going to fight a dangerous guy like that with power and hand speed and stuff like that. So my estimation is probably just going to use this as an opportunity to continue to kind of jump around and cherry pick guys at different weight classes. It's worked up to this point. I just don't know what PBC saw in trying to give this guy $200, $300, $400 million to fight Earl Spence and to fight what's my man name at 154. He's going to fight Jamel Charlo and all these guys. Those guys are too dangerous. Just too dangerous for him to risk all these multi-millions of dollars that he's making for each fight when he could just be fighting nobodies for almost the same money. For Triple G, he should have retired a long time ago. He wasn't going to fight anybody at 160 that was really worth anything. Jamal Charlo, which would have been a legitimate fighter. Let me see, Demetrius Andrade, he could have fought him, chose not to. He basically just ducked everybody that was dangerous at middleweight, waiting for Canelo to give him a third shot, which he finally got this time. All of that being said, going into this fight, I really didn't have a pick. I really didn't feel like trying to promote the fight or have anything to say about it, but now that it's over, this is what it is. Pretty much a mix of the first 2 fights with Canelo coming out, sticking and moving, and pretty much trying to do to Triple G what Floyd Mayweather did to Canelo back in 2013. Which was just box his ears off and make him look like a fool. So he did that for the most part and was kind of slick and moved to certain angles and did a lot of upper body movement. Canelo's good for upper body movement. And Triple G he does the same thing, same 3-punch combination, jab, right hand, left hook, over and over again, thinking that, this is going to be the one that catches Canelo. I mean, it's just, I have no idea what this guy's thinking from a technical standpoint. Is he a decent fighter? Sure. But back in his heyday, he ducked Andre Ward because Andre Ward was too big, too strong, too good of a boxer, and would probably put his lights out in about, 10, 11 rounds. And so he never really wanted any real dangerous fighters. So, he wanted to try to get his stardom off one guy, and that's Canelo Alvarez. And if you look over his career, you can't really name anybody that he beat and looked sensational in the process. and called him like a Hall of Fame fighter or somebody that was really worth a damn. So Triple G goes in here. He's working these same combinations that's worked for him his whole entire career. Nothing new here. Towards the middle of the fight, Canelo starts to getting tired, and so his movement slows up a little bit. His foot movement, and so he just kind of pot shot his way down the stretch a little bit. Triple G starts to come on a little bit later, but it's, he landed a couple of right hands, but outside of that, it was pretty much just a mix of the first two fights. And I really couldn't care less who won this fight one way or the other. I really wasn't even scoring it like that. I was just kind of watching this fight to just see what they look like in general, and and really to just be able to report to you on what you will not want to support in the game of boxing. And there are other fights out there that are being made that are much more worthy, especially of the casual viewer's attention. You guys want to go out there and you want to support the ones that are taking dangerous fights, the ones that are asking for smoke with anybody, the ones that are chasing folks down to try to make these fights happen. Your Devin Haney's, your Earl Spence, even Terrence Crawford could get more credit right now for what he's doing than somebody like Canelo Alvarez. So again, at the end of the day, they kind of boxed their way, to a 12-round unanimous decision that went Canelo's way. And I don't know if it was really close. It didn't look like it was really close. But either way, I wouldn't have cared who walked away with this victory. Hopefully, Triple G will go sit down somewhere and Canelo will just go back to whatever he was doing before, which is jumping around weight classes and cherry picking. So if you got a different opinion, let me hear it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Footwork, baby. We out.